I love that final note, huh? Wouldn't it be nice if we could remember that all the time? That it truly is well with our soul, that it truly is well. I don't know, how many people in here find themselves getting overwhelmed at times? Never, right? No. That used to be one of the pieces of New Thought, was that you could never actually say, I'm overwhelmed, because there was like this weird superstition that by acknowledging how you felt, you were somehow going to make it worse. And that's not how it works, right? By acknowledging what is, then we can actually move through it and get on the other side of it. But if we continue to pretend that it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, no, really, it's okay. No, just load more on my shoulders. I can take it. I can take it. All we end up doing is collapsing under the weight of it all. And one of the pieces that became very clear to me while I was on retreat was this piece around gratitude. I don't know if you've ever been at Spirit Rock. If you haven't, it's beautiful. They've got like 400 acres of land, and it's just gorgeous. And being in silence in a place like that, and having my tree that I could go to. I mean, it was hilarious in one way. You'd walk around campus and you'd see people standing with their tree. And you were like, oh, that's their tree. But the gratitude that I had and that I really felt for the land, there was a lot of focus during the retreat on ancestry, on really honoring our ancestry and what that meant, and honoring how torqued our world has become post-colonialism, like what that mindset has sort of shut us off from. And so much of what it shut us off from is our ability to just sit and be. Right? We're not really allowed to be in our culture. It gets called lazy, or it gets, all these things. We have to be doing all the time. And so to be able to just stand with a tree, the amount of gratitude that I had, it was so refreshing, and it enabled me to truly remember that all is well with my soul. That no matter what is going on out there, is there a lot going on out there? There's a lot going on out there. I came back and I got in the car and I looked at Chris and I was like, so do you still have a job? Like, what happened while I was away? So much changes like that. So one of the most profound practices that we can stand in is this practice of gratitude. And I love this quote by William Wordsworth: rest and be thankful. It's sort of the antithesis of everything we're taught. Rest. Actually take time to rest. How many of us actually do that? One of the teachers there, Amana, she was saying that, we glorify multitasking. Like, we're a better person the more we can multitask. Is that actually true? I mean, we want to be able to focus. We want to be able to be fully present, and that's what gratitude does for us. Gratitude brings us right into the present moment. It brings us into this moment, not in the past, and not what we think might be coming in the future, but it allows us to just be right here, right now. So we've talked about this before because we did the book. What was the name of the book we did? Not Trusting Ourselves, the one we did before. The World Could Be Otherwise. Thank you, Santon. And we talked about the correlation between Buddhism and unity and how closely aligned the tenets are. And so the three refuges are considered to be the three jewels, and refuge meaning the place that we can return to. So it's not a place of hiding. Can you feel the difference? It's not about hiding somewhere. Which is how we often think about the word refuge. But it's about where are we returning to? And we have three jewels. We can return to the Buddha, which is oneness. Can we return to an understanding of oneness? When we are feeling as if it's us versus them and all the division, can we return to oneness? And in that, can we return to an understanding of our own Christ Buddha nature, the divinity that we are? Because I can guarantee that when you find yourself sort of spinning out, or I'll say this for me, when I find myself spinning out, I am not in my Christ Buddha nature. And my wife makes that very clear. She'd be like, honey, you are not in your Christ Buddha nature. We can also return to the Dharma, which is the teachings, the spiritual principles that we know and live by in unity. And those principles are also just about the truth in this moment. Sometimes that's enough, right? We can't get all up in the big stuff sometimes, but what is the truth that I can know in this moment? Oh, I'm breathing. I'm right here. My emotional state may not feel safe, but look, am I actually safe? Right here, truth in this moment. And then we can also return to the Sangha. And by that, we return to each other. One of the biggest challenges, there's a loneliness epidemic out there, folks, and it's not getting better. It's only getting worse. And we have this, we get caught up in this narrative that we're all alone in something, that we're the ones that have to carry it. We somehow don't recognize the Christ Buddha nature of the people around us. They don't need us to carry them. We get to carry each other together all the time. And so one way to think about this, all three of these jewels, is that we're here to awaken to truth together, right? Our Christ Buddha nature, we're awakening to the truth of our divinity. We have truth principles that we use to anchor ourselves, and we don't do it alone. We do it with each other. So Maya Angelou says, when it comes to life, the critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude. Right? Which is, how true is that? We are all so blessed. I know we may have issues, challenges, problems, right? All that stuff. But when you get right down to the nitty-gritty of it all, we are blessed. Can you feel the truth of that? And what we place our attention upon grows in our consciousness. So how often are you placing your attention on your blessings, or do you just take them for granted? I have, in the middle of a storm, there was a storm that moved in at Spirit Rock, 6 a.m. It's not very restful. It's very rejuvenating, but you're up at 6 a.m. and you're meditating until 10 p.m. And then you get up and you do it all again the next day. And so we stagger out of bed at 6 a.m. and it is pouring and the wind is, and we're all walking to the meditation hall. And all I could think was how grateful I was that I was warm and dry. That's huge. That's not a small thing. How many of us just take that for granted? That we actually have a place that's warm and dry. So Thessalonians says, give thanks in all circumstances. Really, all circumstances. Not just the ones we like. Not just the ones that we think are like, yay, that worked for me. All circumstances. And in all circumstances. So when you are in the midst of whatever you're in the midst of, that is when we are being invited to give thanks, right? What is it in there that we can be grateful for? And I know this isn't spiritual practice is not easy, right? It requires that we dig a little bit. Sometimes we are in the midst of some serious things. And we sit there and we go, give thanks in the middle of this? yeah, there's got to be one thing you can give thanks for. Just one. If that's all you can find. I have shared in the midst of my chronic pain with my back that sometimes all I could give thanks for was my breath. Because even that was painful. Breathing was painful, but I was breathing. So I could be grateful that I was breathing. There's a Buddhist proverb that is like, be thankful that you learned something today, and if you didn't learn something today, be thankful that you didn't get sick, and if you got sick, be thankful you didn't die. So Buddhist. Be thankful you didn't die. It's also very Jewish, right? So when we focus on our gratitude, the disappointment that we might be feeling about things, that shifts. And what is able to move in is love, right? Love, appreciation. So we're going to do a little interactive. All right, so you can get your phones out if you want. If you're watching on a live stream, this is for you. And it doesn't matter when you're watching, please send them to me. So our texting number here at Unity in Marin is 415-991-7111. I need my phone because I have to read the things that people send. And so if you're not part of the texting, you might have to first text welcome so that you're in the system. And then what I would love for people to just text, because sometimes it's easier to text. I won't say names. I'm just going to say what it is, right? Sometimes it's easier to share things if you're not feeling quite so public. But we can all learn and grow by the things we're doing. Oh, look, people are texting welcome. I love it. So after your text welcome, thinking about even in the midst of, right? Even in the midst of, I am grateful for. What is it that you're grateful for? So even in the midst of financial insecurity, I am grateful for. What is it that you're grateful for? Because again, we're trying to shift our attention, right? We're shifting our attention. Because what you notice doesn't have to be big, it just has to be authentic. It just has to be real. When we can just focus on something that's truly real, that we are grateful for. So what can you truly and honestly and authentically appreciate and be grateful for in your life? And if you don't want to get on your phone, which I was off my phone for a week and I loved it, you can just call things out, right? In the midst of what is it that you're grateful for? For me, in the midst of everything that's going on in this world, I am deeply grateful for my practice. I do not know how I would be functioning without my practice reminding me of the truth of my awareness, the truth of my consciousness, of the truth of who and what I am and what this world is. And maybe during Advent, I'll share my cushion story from the retreat that really brought that home. So what is it that people are actually grateful for? In the midst of frenzy, I am grateful for my grounding. That's a good one, right? In the midst of anger and political turmoil, I am grateful for my community and family and health. I am grateful for today. Can we all say amen to that? I am grateful for the ability to love. Even in the midst of physical pain, I am grateful for affirmative prayer. Oh, yes. I don't know how we get by anything without our practice. In the midst of my later years, I am so grateful for the life I've had and the health I now enjoy. Can we say amen to that? Can you feel the energy shift in the room right now? I mean, can you feel it? Gratitude opens us up into possibility again. It recenters us in something that's actually true about who we are. So maybe you're grateful for creative projects or community connections or old friendships or new friendships or better health, right? Even in the midst of grief, I am grateful I am grounded in love. Even in the midst of illness, I am grateful for my safe home and neighbors. I am grateful for my amazing dog, Stella. I love her so much. That's the O's are all there. I would have breastfed her if she would have let me do so, LOL. Okay, whoever you are, I love you. That's just brilliant, right? Even in the midst of all the moving pieces, I am grateful that my center is steady and my heart is awake. Oh, that's a good one. Anybody in here feel like we're surrounded by moving pieces? Yeah, right? But we can be centered in that. We can be the centered space. Grateful for knowing I am always connected to spirit. In the midst of a crazy world, I'm grateful for connection with family, friends, and community. Family heartache and emotional difficulty, I am thankful for my family. Let's just take a moment, because this is a big one with the holidays coming up. Anybody in here have some challenging family dynamics going on? Right? So let's just take a breath together and close your eyes for a second. And just let that gratitude, right? The gratitude, no matter how those people in our families may not have lived up to what we had hoped they could have been or could have done or all of those things. Can we just be grateful that they were so that we could be? Right? They were. And that means that I am. Just sending love and gratitude outward for all those people in our lives. Maybe we have more clarity of what we value. I certainly know that this time right now in the world, I'm grateful for how it's clarifying my understanding of my own values. That is a powerful gift to have. I'm grateful for giving voice to those values. Right? Acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. Did you know that? If you want more in your life, if you want more good, if you want more love, if you want more grace, if you want more potential, more possibility, guess what? It starts with being grateful for all that you have right now. Right now, there's another Buddhist proverb, which is, enough is good enough. Right? Enough is good enough. We have a striving culture. It's always about what's over there. What if we're just grateful right here? I'm not going to be able to read all of these, but I'm trying to get as many as I can. Even in the midst of sleeplessness, anybody else have this? I am grateful for the abundance and love that I have. I am grateful for Joel. We wonder who that is. Even in the midst of frustrations, I am grateful that my frustrations are about things that are relatively small. Oh, I love that one. That really is a good one. I am grateful for all the lessons that my daddy taught me about living well and the importance of giving. Even in the midst of home renovation, I am grateful for having a home of love and safety. So I love this quote by Brené Brown. She says, "What separates privilege from entitlement is gratitude." Right? Do we think that we're supposed to have all this? Do we think that just because we are who we are, that it's just supposed to happen? Or can we stand in gratitude for the blessing that it is? There was something about this that really struck me, right? Because we have so much privilege. Can you feel how much privilege is in this room? So if we stand in gratitude, right? That's something that means that we're not saying, oh, I'm entitled to that just because I am who I am. We're saying, wow, grateful for the blessings that I do have. So you can keep texting these in. Start a gratitude circle with some friends. Right? My mom does this. She has a group. It's part of Absolute Abundance, is that you start a gratitude exchange with folks, and every night before she goes to sleep, she texts 3 things that she's grateful for that day to a group of people. There's like 5 of them on it. And everyone texts at the end of the day 3 things that they're grateful for. And what do you think happens when every day, at the end of your day, you're going to have to text 3 things that you're grateful for? You're looking for them, right? You're looking for them all day long. You're looking for what it is that you're grateful for. Now, wouldn't that be a better way to move through your day rather than looking for all the ways that you don't have what you want? This is how we get centered in gratitude. But it's a practice, and we have to work it. Because sometimes the things that we don't have, the things that we feel are missing, the gaps in our heart. Anybody in here have a gap in their heart? Right? Those gaps in our heart, they become the only thing that we're paying attention to. And what gratitude does is provide a bridge, right? A bridge which allows us to step through that gap and to understand that truly how blessed we actually are. How do you want to live your life? Unity is all about practicality. Practical, spiritual principles. How do you want to live your life day to day? You get to choose whether you want to focus on the things that you're grateful for, or you get to choose as to whether you want to focus on the things that aren't working the way you want them to work. And I'm sure you can already feel the energetic difference. Remember, I said worry is not love. Concern is not love. Right? Action is a form of love, but not just how many people have that stuff just going around and around and around and around in your heads? Come on, fess up. Right? Just spins and spins and spins. Gratitude is how we can begin to unhook ourselves from the worry. Gratitude is about how we actually center ourselves in love right now. So many of us are living either in the past or we're living in the future. We're future-focused or we're past-focused. What we're doing with our spiritual practices is saying, I am right now focused. And you know, right now, I'm safe. Right now, I'm safe. Can I allow that to actually seep into my awareness? Right now, I'm warm and I'm dry. Right now, I have 2 beautiful cats who love me and who I love dearly, right? Right now, I could get caught up in the narrative of what's coming down the road. But we want to stay focused in the present. Rumi says, wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. So start a gratitude practice. Find somebody, right? Just text somebody and say, hey, you want to do gratitudes together? Right? It takes 3 minutes at the end of your night before you go to sleep. And guess what? If that's what you do right before you go to bed, guess what consciousness you're bringing into your sleep? Right? You're bringing gratitude into everything. The practices don't have to be big. They need to be consistent. That's the thing. They don't have to be big, but they need to be consistent. 5 hours a day, but you only do it once a year? 5 minutes a day that you do every single day is going to transform the way you move through the world. So don't poo-poo the small things. Don't be like, oh, it's only 5 minutes. Well, what's the big deal? No. There's a cumulative impact when we are consistent and we come back to it again and again and again and again. Especially in those moments where we're like, I don't have anything to be grateful for, right? We can feel like that. But it requires that we do that inner work. So let's take this into our time of meditation. And what I'd like us to do is a continuation of that practice we started with. We did a lot of metta while I was on the retreat, so y'all are getting the benefit of that, right? So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And if you want to place your hand on your heart, feel free to do so. Just allow that to soften even more. And perhaps there's a person or a pet or a community. I'm certainly grateful for Unity in Marin. But just let them come to your mind, family or not. Just someone that you are so deeply, easefully grateful for their presence in your life, for the things that they have brought you, supported you, nourished you. And perhaps it's a little rotating thing where you have somebody pop up and then somebody else comes in. Like you're flipping through a photo album. And as each person comes up, just open your heart in gratitude. Gratitude unexpressed is like a gift that never gets opened. So just allow that gratitude, saying thank you. Thank you for everything. Oh, and as that feels comfortable and feels easeful, you can begin to expand it so that perhaps you can bring some people in that maybe you're a little more neutral about. It's not so clear why you might be grateful that they're in your life. But in this space, invite that gratitude. The gifts they bring. What it is that they offer to your well-being, to your sense of your spiritual identity. And just invite them to know the support that they have given you. Just reflect that back to them, that they have that as well. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can perhaps call in the people that perhaps are a little sticky. Whether they're still with us in time and space is irrelevant. And just inviting them into this field of gratitude, this overflowing space that acknowledges that none of us are perfect. And that even in that imperfect situation, there is something you are, you learned, you became, you understood, that is part of who you are, that they played a role in. Maybe you can be grateful for your inner resilience. Maybe you can be grateful for your awareness of how much love matters. Maybe you're grateful for how important connection and community is. Maybe you're grateful for just all the ways that you were invited to stand in your own authentic voice. And maybe you're grateful for how they modeled something for you that enabled you to choose who you wanted to be in the world. And now I just invite you to open your heart and just extend that gratitude to everybody in this room. If you want to open your eyes and look at each other and just send that gratitude and appreciation for each person here, for all that we give to ourselves. I'm watching you on that live stream. I'm seeing you as well. Just standing in gratitude for this magnificent community, for all that we are, for all that we're becoming. And together I invite us to say, and so it is. Amen. Could do gratitude every Sunday. So our affirmation today is, I am centered in gratitude. Can we know this together? I am centered in gratitude. And so this week, I really invite you as your practice, if there's someone who came through the little flickers of people that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, maybe send them an email or a card and just say, thank you. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you. I love that idea that gratitude is a present unopened if it's not expressed. So that's the practice this week I'm inviting us into, to express your gratitude to the people around you.